Look out on your commute for this USA.gov traffic. Looks like people are visiting this website to see if we can still find the Constitution. For your weather, it's a balmy 666 degrees outside. Here is Our Lady of Conspiracy.
9/11. Mole people. Pizzagate. Benghazi. Pyramids. UFOs. Bigfoot. Big feet. The Mothman.
The thing is,
I just want to see how I thought we were doing seeing who would talk first.
we like talk over each other sometimes, and I just wanted to be, like I was like waiting, like, oh, are you gonna? Okay, anyway. First, I'm gonna tell you. So I'm doing these haunted pub crawls in downtown Austin,
Mm-hmm.
and I got in trouble at my last one
Mm-hmm.
with a security guard at the Driscoll
Mm-hmm.
because I had this huge group and they like went into a secret room. So let me just tell you this story. I am gonna let the listeners know I have a conspiracy to talk to you about.
They
Have
don't
you
care.
have you heard of the lead mask case?
No.
The men with the lead masks? No?
Mm-mm.
Okay, amazing. That's what I'm going to talk about. But first, I just wanted to tell you.
This bitch ass security guard.
And like, here's what is the most embarrassing thing about it is that like I flirted with him way too much because when I'm nervous, I kind of turn on the charm. So that was embarrassing. But anyway, they were like, so I was sitting there on my phone because like I'm like, okay, y'all go drink for 15 minutes and then we'll go to the next stop. Like I tell the ghost story and then I'm like, okay, go get a drink. You can go look at all the paintings. The Driscoll is beautiful.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there on my phone. I'm messaging my team because somebody got like a ghost hunting equipment thing and they haven't sent it to me yet because I'm brand new. So I was like messaging them back and forth to see like if I should tell them anything or whatever. And this guy comes over to me and he's like, "Hey, what's your name?" And he's wearing a suit. And then I look and he has a badge on. And my first thought was actually because all of these people are Mexican, that I was in a much different kind of social situation, like not to be a bummer, but you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Oh
then
no. Oh no. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. That's
but he's
okay.
wearing a suit and a badge. You know what I mean? So then I'm like, okay, it's probably just like that they have, a security cop or whatever. And he was like, these people say they're with you and that you told them to go exploring and they went in a secret door. So now y'all have to get out of here.
Why do you have a secret door, number one? And if they
I,
found it, it can't be that secret.
and
It's
I
just
was
a
like,
door.
wait till you wait for the reveal.
I'm already upset by this, but I do want to say real quick because if he had a suit and a badge, was he with the law enforcement group Nice? Because he's dressed nice. Is that bad?
Oh,
Okay.
instead of ice.
Yeah, we're out of here. Show's
That
up.
was
He's dressed very
Oh
nice.
yeah, it's easy for us to laugh over here on the white side of the line.
Oh no, no, I'm not. I'm just talking about the group Nice. I'm not talking about how terrible the other group is. Anyway, let's get. I'm
So
out of this. Let me out of this, please.
let me out of this. Well, I started it with my initial racism.
Free me
So,
from this prison that I bring upon myself.
um, but I mean, we were joking a lot later in the tour about like them being from the valley and like one of them was from, Mexico. We were talking, like just general Texican kind of back and
Yeah,
forth banter that we're
for
used
sure.
to as people that are from Houston. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
But also like if I have a tour of people that are at risk, like I'm the only thing standing between them and getting detained, so I'm not letting them leave that building.
For
Like
sure.
I'll get into a
Force
physical altercation with a man with a badge on for sure.
for a Men in Black guy.
Yeah, I'll take my top off and make sure everyone's filming and it's going to be a whole production.
Whatever you got to do, I feel you. That's
Literally whatever we have to do.
very heroic.
So he stands back and I shake his hand and I stand up and I'm like, "Oh, well, let me text my manager." Like just immediately, even though he's saying we have to leave because I don't know, like if there's an incident, I'm just supposed to report it.
Yeah, we're here to help you, you fucking douche.
So as soon as I say that, he stands back and he points and I see
Okay,
and it is literally a door.
for sure.
And there's no sign on it that says employees only.
There
It's
usually
not
aren't.
it's not locked. There's no indication that you're not supposed to open that door. And I'm like, is it a supply closet? And he's like, no, it's a door they're not supposed to open and a place they're not supposed to be. It's like, okay. And so he takes me over to the bar and he takes out a little moleskin notebook out of his pocket and he starts essentially, I won't go through the whole thing, but he's doing like a bit that he has to do where he like intimidates me. You know, he's like, where do you work? What's your name? What's your manager's name? What's their phone number? What's your
Dude,
phone
I
number?
mean, I'm already lost my patience. Is he kidding?
He's being serious, but then I like we're kind of having this because I'm like, well, I'm an independent contractor. Like I can tell my manager. He essentially like doesn't want me to tell my manager because I was like, I can tell my manager to send everybody a note saying like not to go in there because there's different contractors that come in and out. And he's like, no need to worry, So
So he
anyway, the
wanted the
fact
he wanted the power, but he didn't want to get known that what he was doing his job. Well, I mean, what?
I have no idea. But anyway, we ended up having a really great time because everywhere we went, we were like, so where's the most secret door in this building? And the fact that it was just a door.
I mean, that person, well, they or that's somebody who could not even get it. That's like the minor leagues for TSA. So the
Yeah,
fact that
perhaps.
they had a chance to have power for a second. So that's, I mean, he had to jump on the opportunity, but that's
And so, I'm flirting with him and I'm like, because when he asked for my number, I was like, I have a Pavlovian response when someone asks me for my number. I'm like, oh, you gonna call me?
but he wanted it for the ticket, that fake ticket that he was writing.
The ticket he was writing in his moleskin notebook that he had in his pocket, which he had to turn page by page for all the other people he had written down in it.
And it's just all like fake names. Clearly
I'm
fake
sure,
names.
yeah. So if anything ever happens to me again, he'll be like, let me look in my file. And he pulls out his moleskin and he's like, there it is, Astra.
But I mean, but in the haunted bar crawl for the bars to bring patronage, like so isn't that a kind of a stupid thing on his part? Oh no,
I
you don't
mean,
know
he
you
doesn't know. Maybe I'm a troublemaker. He doesn't know. You should have seen what I was wearing. I was wearing like a big poofy.
you're like dressed as a sheet ghost. It's like, well, this doesn't look good. And you're just like a ghost.
I just have a sheet over my head, a
Yeah,
little
just
eye
two
hole.
eyes cut out. And it's like, well, you look like this could be some trouble. People,
Anyway,
but I love the go-getter attitude of the people in the group. Just opening doors is a kind of a crazy thing as well.
they were so
I've
cool.
never been in a place and just been like, oh, I'm gonna just check this out.
That was the best tour I've ever had. That was such a
Yeah,
cool group of people. Yeah. I was really glad that they were making trouble.
I love it.
They broke a shot glass. Yeah, at least they were like having into it. Some
They
people
were
come
like
into
on
the
a hunt.
yeah, they were hunting ghosts.
I love it. Even more so that that guy's upset. He shouldn't be in that room. It's just well, okay, all right.
Yeah. And I was like, so what was in the room? And they were like, a chair.
Or was somebody sitting in that chair? A real ghost. That was the
There,
real
maybe there's a ghost
conspiracy.
in the
Was
chair.
they were hiding a real ghost.
You never know. And I did see a movie. The place I'm staying has Apple TV, so I'm just like watching
Sick
everything I can.
for
And
sure.
I watched a movie called The Gorge,
Okay.
which is about a conspiracy theory
Hmm.
where there's like zombies living in a gorge. And the US,
Wait, you're watching a zombie movie?
yeah. Well, they're technically not zombies. They're like victims of a chemical warfare experiment that
Okay.
trapped their souls. Oh, my Duolingo. I gotta do it right now.
Do it right now on here. Actually do it right now.
I'll do a couple so you can hear the voice. Let's see. Uno momento.
Un momento. The tension is palpable. Or papiblio. That's not real. That's not a word. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Boleto.
Oh, I got that one right.
Mi abuela no es inglesa.
My grandmother is
An
not.
episode of Dora the Explorer. Swiper, no swiping.
Mi esposa es española. Es de Madrid. That's in Spain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I-
jefe quiere leer la carta ahora.
Mm.
The boss wants to read the letter, which is totally something I would say in everyday speech.
Do you ever get to do
Oh, I forgot to put
Spanish
now.
the Spanish like Vicky Cristina Barcelona? Do you ever get to do the Because you know how Spain has the
Mm.
you never seen Vicky Cristina Barcelona? Barcelona. That's how they sound. Ibiza. It's I'm not making that. That's really how the Spanish version of Spanish goes. Seriously.
Okay, let me take you to
I'm
19.
serious. I'm serious about this. That's real. Truly, it's true. It's real.
I'm going to take you to 1960s Brazil, where
Okay.
they don't speak Spanish, they speak
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Portugoose. Mm-mm. I'm sorry.
I have this like French tarot deck that I'm super into right now, and I have to like Google the French translation every time I pull a card, but it's so sick.
That is sick.
Okay, we're launching in. I'm taking you to 1960s Brazil.
Okay.
It's 1966.
Okay.
And Miguel and Manuel
Mm-hmm.
are found dead on the top of a hill.
All right.
They are laying down side by side. They have matching suits on. They're wearing raincoats over their suits, and they have lead masks over their eyes. And it's a sheet of lead that has been poorly cut out to look like lead sunglasses.
What? Okay.
And when they investigate the scene, there's no bruises on their bodies, there's no sign of fight or foul play, but they've been outside for about 3 days, they suspect, and no animals have eaten their bodies, even though it's in the wilderness.
Okay.
And there are no plants growing in a circle around them. So either they found a clearing or there's some other reason that nothing is growing in that area.
Mhm.
There's notes around them. And as they investigate, they find, and I'm just imagining someone finding my diary when I die, and I'm so embarrassed. But on these like pieces of paper in these notebooks are electrical formulas, and there's instructions that have them at certain times, like through it's like Monday through Wednesday, and I think they're found on Wednesday or something like that, taking tablets, like different medications. So like take a
Okay.
tablet this morning, and then the next evening take a tablet, and then take two before blah blah blah, and then go up to the place. It doesn't say what the place is on the notes.
Sounds like the place could be this hill.
Investigators suspect that the place might be this hill.
One of the sheets says you plus sunglasses drawing equals us, and it's just it's like okay, well maybe they're on to something.
And then it says in Portuguese, it
Mhm.
says, wait for the mask signal. So that's all the evidence that we have in this scenario physically. That's all the things that have happened. Now, they do
Could be
get
a good,
taken.
could be an alien bit where it's like if you're an alien and you're kind of funny and you're just like want to tell them that they have to cover their eyes with lead sunglasses and and they just basically it's just Beavis and Butthead from space. Yeah, tell them they have to put that on and then they're just it's a good bit for the aliens. I don't know.
Yeah, they're getting pranked. They're getting punked
Yeah, that'd be
by.
hilarious. Just communicating to, because it's always just dumbass people that they're talking to, or they're picking up for their ships. Just that'd be hilarious, just to mess with them.
Okay, so your theory so far, which you'll have opportunities throughout the show to tell me what you think is happening.
Okay,
Your running theory right now
is
is that
hilarious Beavis and Butthead alien bit.
love that. Okay.
Do you guys have weed? That'd be sick. All right.
Um, so they take the bodies back for an autopsy.
Hmm.
And what do you think the cause of death is, if you had to guess?
Lead poisoning. Instant lead poisoning. I don't know. No.
Okay. It was cardiac arrest.
Okay. Yeah, so
It
that would be my
seems
second
that
guess.
they simultaneously died, both of cardiac arrest on top of this
Okay.
hill. Weird, right?
Yeah, were they having sexual intercourse? No, because they were laid side by side. So they couldn't have been. Okay. No.
And they had matching suits on with rain jackets. So let's learn a little bit about Manuel and Miguel.
Okay.
They
The
were
smear campaign. It's the smear campaign.
they worked in like TV transistor electrical work, which
Okay.
in the 60s was like that was a pretty lucrative high demand job. And in Brazil at that time, they were in an economic downturn. So it was very valuable to be able to repair radios and TVs rather than buy new ones because there wasn't a lot of electric stuff coming in and out.
Right.
So they were very smart. They were super technically savvy, which is convenient because they were really into making homemade bombs as a hobby.
Fuck. That will get you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this was like before the Anarchist Cookbook. So who really knows? But as we also know, the 1960s were a really prolific psychedelic time for us. Oh, let me put it on silent, sorry. Um, okay.
No, this rules. This rules.
This rules, but what's also kind of funny is just like thinking about what it must have been like in the 60s in Brazil to be like a dude who's into like fixing TVs and doing psychedelics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they would have been thought you were whatever the Portuguese term for gay is. If you're not trying to be Pele, if you're not trying to play football, the beautiful game, which Brazilians absolutely love the beautiful game, then yeah, then what are you even trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
So I
It
don't know.
was I don't know if you remember that sugar daddy I was dating for a while that took me to New
No, I
Orleans.
don't remember. Oh yeah, the one that you bought the silly hat, the band hat.
Well, I wear that hat on my tour.
That hat rules. One of our early episodes, well, it was from the
Yeah,
from
the
the
before
you will never
times.
hear the before times, the Old Testament. I
What's
wore
up?
it. I wore it. It's awesome. It's like a bedazzled like a marching band hat. That's the only way I can explain it. I don't know. It rules.
Yeah, he walked me into a store in New Orleans and he had been telling me the whole time. He was like,
Any hat
well,
you want, buy any hat you want. It's like, oh, okay, okay.
he was like, when we go to New Orleans, I'm gonna take you to the store and you get to pick out anything you want. And I was like, okay, maybe it's a jewelry store, maybe it's like a witch shop because I'm a witch. So
Yeah.
everywhere we go, I'm like, is this it? And he's like, no, but I'll buy you something, like so he would get me this stuff. And then on our when we go into this store that has hats on the wall, I did not suspect you would be like, okay, this is the store that I'm so excited to buy you something.
Well,
Pick any hat you
did you
want.
ever get a backstory of why he was so into the hats?
I have no idea. I may never know.
I mean, that hat is sick. So, I mean, they must have had other sick hats if that was the one you picked. They must have had sick hats there.
There was some sick hats. I picked that one because it was the least steampunk hat.
It was all just weird goggles and guys on old like animatronic spiders. I don't know. That's very funny.
Well, anyway, he was Brazilian. So when we
Okay.
fucked, when we fucked, he would speak in Portuguese because he said that if you were to speak in English, it would be like faking it.
Not a big fan of Portuguese. No, no offense to all of my we do have a lot of Brazilian listeners, but it's not my favorite language. It's kind of hard.
Yeah,
It's more harsher. It's a little bit harsher than you would think.
I think any colonizer language is pretty rough. Moving on.
Let me be racist when I want to be racist, please. Just kidding.
So, we were talking about their lore,
Hmm.
which you make a good point because, like, I was kind of thinking because these men are very close, and yes, they have wives, but they also are saying, like, oh, we're gonna go make these bombs and like do these experiments with this electrical equipment. And it's like maybe they are gay for each other?
That's how you had to do it back in the day. You had to have like some sort of partner in some sort of project. Otherwise, you couldn't fuck.
Yeah, just like two
For real though.
autistic, like, and they do, I mean, one of them has a little mustache, like,
I mean, more
so,
power to them.
um, on the same night that these men are said to have gone up onto this hill based on when they seem to have died and what the notes say, because they have these specific instructions, there is a report of a UFO sighting.
Okay, see.
So what happens is this woman does see a UFO that night. She doesn't report it to the police, but she does tell her husband, and then her
Yep,
husband
you're right.
sees
The true
on
authority is a lady's husband.
She's like, I'll definitely report it to the man that's supposed to take care of me.
He just told her to keep it down. He was trying to watch the match on the TV.
Yeah, he was drunk watching football with his boyfriend, his gay
For
lover.
for sure.
So he sees in the news that there's two men found on this hill dead, and it's believed that they died on this night. So if you have any information, because at this point they're kind of thinking like maybe it is some kind of poisoning, maybe they're in some kind of like corrupt situation with gangs and stuff. Like they really don't know. So they're like, if you have any information,
Have you ever seen City of God?
City of God. Mm-mm.
It's sick as hell. It's a good movie, just a good movie. Well, it's more modern times, but it's about the Brazil and the favelas and just
Hmm.
like it's sick as hell. It's a good movie. But go ahead. That's all. That's all.
Well, hey, if I'm allowed to give movie recommendations and talk about
Well,
all the films,
I didn't have a zombie in this one, but it's yeah, it's pretty sick.
I've seen City of Angels, which is like one of the saddest movies on the planet.
I've seen Angels in the Outfield, and that's when Christopher Lloyd comes and saves the, you know. You ever seen that one?
Mm.
Have you ever seen
I've
Angels in the
seen,
Outfield?
I have never seen it. I have seen Angels in My Sleep because I'm a ghost.
Well, the Angels in the Outfield is where they exploit orphans to win baseball games because they think that he can bring the angels upon. It's very exploitative, and it's not nearly as cool as they think it is. But
Is that if they build it, they will come or
no,
whatever?
that's Field of Dreams, and I have another take on that. No, this is the one with who's the what's it, Gordon Levitt. He
Oh,
as a
Joseph
child,
Gordon-Levitt.
yeah,
Mm.
as a kid, and he does like this thing, and he could bring in the Angels to come in and help their shitty baseball team. And fun fact, one of the players who was just like a regular actor, Matthew McConaughey, was one of the outfielders on that team, and he wasn't a star of the movie. He was just like a regular
Hmm.
guy. But yeah, so these I don't know. I can't do the if you have to know the movie to know what I'm talking about. So I can't do my bit.
That's okay.
I can't do my bit.
Well, we can keep talking about conspiracy theories. We don't have to always do bits, you know? Like we
No.
can just have a good time.
Okay. Okay.
Don't
Okay.
cry. Don't cry.
It's very hard. So so we don't know.
Okay, so
So the jury's still out on what's going on with these guys.
well, we're kind of, yeah, like what's the thing is when this woman's husband sees that they died over that hill, he's like, "Hey, my wife saw a UFO above that hill on the night that they died."
Okay.
So this newspaper publishes that just like as a like, "Oh, by the way," and then a bunch of people start reporting that they saw a UFO on that night.
Mm-hmm.
But also, think about this. It's the 1960s. And in my belief as a conspiracy theorist, that is when aliens were in the most contact with us. So I do think that it is valid for them to have all seen a UFO that night.
Yeah, Brazil's been popping with UFOs. Some of the best UFO lore comes out of Brazil.
Hmm.
I mean, have you heard of like there was like full on like battles that reports of that there were like full like militia attacks like battling UFOs.
Mm.
There's like out of like outside of Rio de Janeiro. So like pretty sick.
Yeah, maybe sometime we could do the Brazilian UFO lore as
No,
I'll assign
there's
you.
there's a bunch, and you got the Christ Redeemer statue, and you've got just a bunch of stuff going on there. There's shout to Brazil,
We love Brazil.
Brazil, yeah, hell yeah.
Um,
Okay, so other people are coming to report it after the fact.
so
I guess that makes sense. If somebody else was, you don't want to be the person who breaks the story, but if somebody else says it, like now you feel kind of safe to come and be like, oh yeah, actually I saw that too. So
mhm.
that's plausible.
Because, like, if I saw a UFO tonight, I wouldn't call the police, like I would keep it to myself. But if I saw something on the
Yeah, 'cause you're
news,
not a narc. But if you saw other people talking about it, then you'd be like, you do a whole TikTok on it.
exactly. Yeah. It's like one of those things, like, it's a personal experience that you share with
True.
your friends, but it's not until it becomes,
Uh,
like normal that you would publish it.
Fair,
So
yeah.
I totally get that. I think that that's
Yeah.
perfectly valid. And there's also like, maybe people are just thinking they saw a UFO now, like they totally didn't. But when there weren't as many satellites in the sky and there weren't as many planes, it was weird to see shit moving in the sky,
With lights, literally anything would, yeah,
like it's just a different vibe.
for sure.
So we're working with the UFO theory now, and based on these experiments that they have been doing, we're going to get a little into what we called in the 60s scientific spiritualism,
Okay.
which is it's a practice, it's a religion, it's a community of people who believe that aliens have souls and spirits as well, and that we can use mediumship to contact them.
Well, why wouldn't they though? If we have souls, why wouldn't they have souls as well?
I'm in agreement. I think the only difference between us, like we're just random people who believe that, and a scientific spiritualist is that we're not actively trying to contact aliens, and scientific spiritualists absolutely are. They spend a lot of time doing that.
Okay. Yeah.
And when they search the houses of the dead men, Miguel and Manuel, they find books and notes on scientific spiritualism. So these two men were scientific spiritualists. And earlier in the 1960s, in 1962, there is a story of another man going out into nature wearing a lead mask over his
Okay.
eyes, who also worked in TV transmission electric work, like the same kind of
Okay.
work that they do, who also was a scientific spiritualist. So now they're making this connection between this other guy who died, and they were just like
Fair.
random crazy guy in the woods.
Well, fair connection.
Yeah, what
I'm
are the
I'm
odds?
I'm drawn. I'm well. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm seeing the patterns.
So, but this guy, he was just alone in the woods by himself. Like it's much different than finding two men laying next to
Yeah,
each other.
but he had all of the bones of the same thing are there.
Hmm.
Same kind of same background. My problem, and this is my problem. So this is just yeah, take that for what it's worth. I I wish they would be more honest in how they named their group. Like I feel like they're trying to be misleading by saying scientific spiritualists. Like if you would have been like we're the alien people or something. I feel like they're trying to be sneaky about their name, and I have a problem with that. You,
Okay.
does that make sense
Yeah.
though? And
No, I totally get it.
this is to me a problem. Like they're like you're naming it where it's like they're trying to like make it more valid by naming it something that it's not. It's like well, you guys are just you're the alien people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say like we love aliens. I heart aliens.com.
I mean, I never mind. I understand what they're trying to. You are trying to give your group validity by not naming it "We're the Alien People," but it's just that I feel like it works against them by doing that. But what's
Well,
wrong?
I
Oh, you looked like you something was like an alien was talking to you.
yeah, there's a light flickering.
That's a good. It's probably a ghoul,
Can you
probably a
see
real
it?
ghost. No,
Can you
but I
see
saw
it?
you. No, but I saw kind of. But I saw you like look up like something had talked to you. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I guess it's just an electrical issue. This is an old house.
Yeah, but I'm aware. Anytime a light flickers, I'm always like, yeah, that's probably some sort of spirit trying to talk to me. Every
Ugh.
time, I'm like, that's an angel. It's probably my angel, probably telling me something very important right now.
Well, yeah, I mean the aliens are definitely listening. That's all I'm saying.
That's good. Well, I mean, they're tuning in, but they would have got me on that one. They would have been like, you're the one that's kind of out of bounds on this. But
So, in the report, the police report, they say that their skin did seem to have like a pinkish burning hue, but their bodies were also kind of partially decomposed after 3 days. So they could have just been from being out in the sun. The woman
yeah,
who saw the UFO says that she could have seen some beams that were coming out of the UFO, which is pretty elaborate, to be honest. Pretty sci-fi sounding.
well, to be iffy on it, to be like, well, yeah, I could have. Maybe it's possible I saw some beams coming out. Like you saw beams come out of a ship from space. I feel like you
Well, she
might like
also, the thing is, she also described it as being on fire. Like they don't have any conceptualize, like they can't really conceptualize something in the sky like that. You know what I mean?
true.
So the one of the scientific theories is that it's a ball of lightning as well, because that's a phenomenon that does occur, but it wouldn't really shoot out like that. It wouldn't be that high up in the sky, but that could have been what happened too.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So, one of the buddies of Miguel and Manuel is being questioned kind of as a suspect, and he's giving the police information about like these guys and what they do in their free time, which is building bombs, trying to talk to aliens via radio.
Yeah, all not
Um,
good, great stuff. That yeah, the case is stacked against them. It's like, well, yeah, they're always building bombs and trying to talk to aliens. It's like, well, that's strikes two and three. What else you got on them?
And so he went with them once to go to an illegal radio station off the water.
Pirate radio, sick.
And this guy, their buddy, doesn't really think that like it's that big of a oh, I have to pause the podcast. There's a kitty out there that really wants to come in.
Okay, please.
Everybody wait here. We're back, baby. So this buddy goes with them to a pirate radio station.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not really as into it as they are. So he doesn't really know the extent of what they're doing. And he definitely, claims not to be in on the psychedelic aspect of it. And at the station at a certain day and time, he's saying, like, we were there, we were setting up equipment, they were trying to do something. And at the exact same time, in a separate report, the Navy reports seeing a UFO. They say that they see this kind of ball of fire in the sky and it explodes in the sky. And they report it as like a security risk. So
it probably is one. Yeah.
And they report receiving radio transmissions from 3 separate channels during this time that they're seeing the UFO. Now, there are those gentlemen at the illegal radio station that are doing stuff. So that could be one of them, but there's no explanation.
Seems a little suspect that they're doing stuff, but I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah, there's no explanation for the other 2. I don't know that much about radio stuff, but
I mean, they're in a pirate radio station doing stuff. So jury is still out on that, but okay.
Yeah, who's to say?
Who is to say?
The explosion is on record, the Navy report is on record. Like, that's kind of like a coincidence that they happened to be at that radio station so close to where the Navy was at that time, like so close to the water.
Okay.
So I am briefly, we have talked a lot about UFO here, but I do want to briefly touch on the witch doctor theory.
Oh, yes, finally. Yes.
Because I know that you really, really love witch doctors.
I love witch doctors.
And it's an important part of your story and your journey.
Love witch doctor.
So the witch doctor theory is that they were seeing someone and because what their alibi, like when they told everybody that they were going to go to the top of the hill, don't spit your drink out.
I'm just thinking of shrunken heads. I'm just thinking of what their theory could possibly be, but come on. Sorry.
So they told everybody, like, hey, we're gonna go buy a car and we're gonna go buy some electrical equipment in the city. So that's where they said they were going when they went to this hill. So they had like a lot of money with them when they left.
Okay.
So the money's still missing. You know what I mean? So the theory is that they were kind of like working with a witch doctor to try to like manifest something or do a particular spell, or, there was some kind of idea that they could, in my theory, because I have fan fiction about them being gay, it's that they get to like be together forever, or that they get to leave and they appear somewhere else. Because there are, like in the, what's the cult that drank the Kool-Aid?
I don't know.
They all drink Kool-Aid and they were wearing white sneakers.
I mean, I know what it is. I don't know what the name of it is.
Well, we have the power at our fingertips to find out.
Well, I don't, because I'm using my phone as a camera.
Cult that drank Kool-Aid. Although it wasn't Kool-Aid, it was something else.
Yeah, Kool-Aid wants to make sure everybody knows that.
Jonestown.
Yeah, Jonestown. Well, I mean, yeah.
Wow. Such a sad story.
Yeah, if you're dumb enough to drink something that's gonna kill you, then that's kind of on you.
Wasn't he from Houston?
Possibly.
I think he was, yeah. But the cult was called the People's Temple.
That's a good name. It's a good name.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
We did we did definitely got to the bottom of
that. But anyway, so it could be that death was their intention, so that their souls could go to a spaceship so that
So they had a raincoat on. They could go to foggy London town together. Like,
So-
what do they go somewhere rainy together?
they were trying to get transported to foggy London town because there are specific instructions about taking something, and it doesn't say like what the medication is. It just says like tablets. You know what I mean? So it could be a witch doctor kind of saying like, this is your prescription to do that or whatever.
Okay.
Which also, oh, 1 second.
Hey, the cats run this show. The cats run this show.
She can't find where to get out.
Meow is what I'd say to that.
Well, guess what? I have good news. Only job while I'm here, so
Yeah,
I like have to do it.
of course. We love it.
So maybe they're trying to go away to foggy London town, and one of the supporting pieces of evidence in that theory is that there was another guy that did it. So there could be a common witch doctor
Okay.
that was like
Yeah.
saying, this is how you do this. You know what I mean?
True. Sometimes there is a common witch doctor. No, yeah, for real. I'm not. Yeah, for real.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. So that's, one of the theories. And then we have something that's a little more plausible, a little less
Mhm.
UFO, a little less
Mhm.
1960s aliens, which is that it's an elaborate scam that a certain like member of a cartel organization is pulling on TV people that can like work on radios. Because at the time, because electronics were so sparse and scarce, it was really tied up in crime organizations. So it could be an elaborate way to get these men to kill themselves and bring them a bunch of money. You know what I mean? So it's like a con where they kind of like play on the fact that they're already spiritualists because there's really no way to like explain their deaths. Like they did send them for a toxology report, but there's no report on file, which I think speaks to government involvement.
Very shady.
Yeah, or it could just be that, that specific autopsy person was incompetent.
But I mean that goes to both like shady in terms of it's something, it's an otherworldly, it's an extraterrestrial attack, but also like that goes to cover up actual murder and crime syndicate type stuff. So I mean that could go either way but that does say something that the autopsy is not available.
Yeah, the autopsy is, but the toxology report that was done
Uh,
separately isn't. And then the only thing that's there is that like in the file it says like there was no sign of poison. You know what I mean? And that in the
and there's
original
nothing else. There's no signs of anything else.
just cardiac arrest. Like that's the cause of death. You know what I mean? Like because essentially like you go in for the autopsy and they're like, okay, cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, well, they have these tablets in their notes. So let's go send it for toxology. It's like a separate thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Toxology says, no, there's no sign of poisoning. But if you try to like go actually find the toxology report, it's not actually in the police file. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which is like kind of suspicious. Like maybe you wouldn't include it if you included the summary. It was the
Very
60s.
suspicious.
It's pretty suspicious. Um,
But it is the
So-
60s, so I mean it's crazy.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
and
don't
it's-
respect like do you like not I don't respect like past times in terms of
Mhm.
just like it's on me once again. But I'm just like, oh no, because they didn't have they didn't know the same amount of stuff. It's like, oh no, they're incompetent, which is crazy to say.
Well, things get lost over time too. Like everyone's smoking a cigarette at all times. So maybe
True.
you can't hold the cigarette, do the toxology appointment, and find the report at the same time.
But see, I feel like the reports at that time, that's all that you have are reports. So like I feel like that they would have to be more rigorous about their reporting and about the stuff. Otherwise, what else do you have? But I guess if they're already dead, like you don't care too much. I don't know. This is
Or just-
very, very conspiratorial.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying. Now I'm going to take you on another journey.
Okay, witch doctors.
We've talked about UFOs, we've talked about
Okay.
witch doctors. Now we're talking about criminals, which
Yes.
maybe, like
Hitting all the points.
They were involved in some kind of crime thing, and this was an elaborate ploy, blah blah blah. And then this is a little more of like the if you're not a conspiracy theorist, then this is probably what the explanation is.
Okay.
Probably what's happening is that they are getting really tied up in the scientific spiritualist lore. They are taking acid, which is psychedelics, or
Yeah.
mescaline, which would be in tablets, but we also call acid tabs. So could be
Okay.
either of those things.
For sure.
They're microdosing at these times up until they take a big trip on the top of a hill, and then they take a bunch of, acid. They lay down with their lead masks, which is what, they have read somewhere is going to get them to communicate with aliens or whatever. And then something scares them and they both have a heart attack. They both,
The aliens show up and that's what kills them.
maybe, or a ball of lightning.
Literally anything. If you're on that much acid, you're literally anything.
Because the drugs,
Couple of seagulls.
imagine doing acid in the 60s, because the only time you're going to get acid if it's like real acid, like scientific grade, government grade psychedelics.
Yeah, MK Ultra grade.
That MK Ultra acid. And like that's kind of the era that we're talking about. Like there could also, speaking of government conspiracies and the fact that the Navy reports UFOs, there was a lot of CIA activity in South America during the 60s.
For
There were a
sure.
lot of people in the CIA that had acid on them like all the time, and they were just dosing people and seeing what happened. And
Yeah,
I
that was
think
their whole thing for a while. Yeah.
it's perfectly valid to assume that like they were taking advantage of psychedelic scientific spiritualism to, like because they did that in the drug community in the 60s in the US. Like they would take advantage of the fact that everybody was doing the free love movement. So
For sure.
maybe like Brazil's version of that is scientific spiritualism, where the CIA was taking advantage of that and dosing people, seeing what they could get away with,
We
stuff like
can, we,
that.
we we definitely cannot rule them out.
We can
With,
never rule out
with,
the CIA.
with anything, with literally anything, you cannot rule them out. So that's definitely
hmm
on that's on the table.
It's on the table. That's all I'm saying.
It is crazy to where you can have something where it's like there's a death where you don't have a clear explanation as to what's going on. Like that is kind of odd.
Well, that's also like,
Usually, like you can have some theories around something where you're like, but you kind of know what went down. This heart stopping, and then them just there's so many weird things going on around it.
and that's what makes it perfect for a conspiracy theory. Because there's just really no clear, like, you can't really put your finger on it. The cryptic notes, the fact that it happened to someone in the past too, like the UFO sightings, which, like, that's super sick. I would like to believe that it was actually aliens fucking around with them. I like your theory best.
Hilarious. Well, I mean, I mean, that brings it all full circle. If they're just like, they've done all this stuff. They're trying to communicate with aliens. They do all this stuff to get prepared, and the aliens actually show up and they die because they're so excited to see the aliens.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd love to see it.
But I mean,
I'd love to see the pranking aliens that were like running rampant in the
but
1960s.
not even the pranking aliens. But like that is hilarious. Great bit. Good, very funny space guys. But if not even from that standpoint, if they actually show up and like just exactly like the what are they called again? They're the something spiritualists. What are they
Oh,
called?
scientific
Yeah,
spiritualists.
like exactly like they drew it up. And like they got the aliens, they somehow used the lead to beckon. They whatever they were trying to do, it worked. And they showed up and they got so excited or got so scared that the aliens were there. That I mean, that is plausible that they got so excited or so startled that their heart stopped. I mean, that doesn't even have to be some sort of malicious attack. They could have just been like just so much going on that they couldn't even handle it. So
hmm Like just
not even a bit,
seeing,
not even a hilarious bit by the aliens. Just like, no, we're here.
yeah.
We're here to
Like
see
we're
what are
trying to
you.
abduct you. Like we want to say hi. Like
No,
chill the fuck
yeah,
out.
we're on board with whatever your whole thing. We love it. We love the tap. We love the drawings. We love the bomb testing. We love everything you guys are doing. The gay sex. We love it. We're here to talk about it. And then they're like, ugh.
They
Sometimes
just
life
like
be
cannot handle it.
sometimes life be like that sometimes, you know? It do be
Yeah,
like,
and that's what's so funny too about like the the idea of doing psychedelics to contact aliens is that, and also the fact that there is kind of this, there's the like, because you know my belief about aliens is that they're interdimensional.
hmm
So there is
I share that belief.
there's a world, and we share that with Alex Jones as well. That's one of the many things we have in common with Alex Jones.
Globalist, Satanists, imperialist vampires. All right.
In addition to Sasquatch, as exhibited on your hat, the
Not blurry. Usually it's
interdimensional.
blurry. Usually it's blurry, but this time not as blurry. But yeah, they pop in and
Um,
out. They pop in and out of the dimensions. Yeah.
so the idea that death is actually just transitioning your soul from this earth to the alien spaceship, like I can kind of get behind that. Like I think
Yeah.
that doesn't sound too crazy to me if you know that aliens are interdimensional and not like as physical as we are.
Well, I mean, that's as crazy as saying that you go to heaven or you move on to, or not even from a Christian viewpoint, from like that you follow the light into the moon and your soul company. It's all would all fall in the same umbrella. Like it's all
So
the same thing. So, okay.
I'm gonna wrap this whole segment up
hmm
by telling you that there is another story from the 60s where
Okay.
two people die of cardiac arrest at the exact same time next to one
What?
another.
What?
And one of them is a quantum physicist,
Okay.
and the other is a woman that he was having an affair with.
For sure. Sometimes you get caught up in the shit sometimes.
They were found in nature
They
by
were
the side
found
of the,
in nature.
just like Miguel and Manuel.
Okay. Okay. Well,
It was Dr. Gilbert Bogle. And I don't have in my notes who the woman's name is because I don't care about women.
yeah, well, he also had the nerdy Dr. Gilbert Walkle. He had like the nerdiest name of all time.
Oh, Mrs. Chandler.
Mrs.
So
Chandler.
on New Year's Eve, they're like at a New Year's Eve party and they
hmm
leave together. Now, one of them had an open marriage and didn't really care what they did. So she probably had a gay husband, is what I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Mrs. Chandler. Yeah, for sure.
there's no sign of foul play. There's no bruises on their bodies. They're soaking wet, but the cause of death was not drowning. It was cardiac arrest.
Okay. Well, they were skinny dipping and swimming before that. That's fine.
Yeah, who's to say?
Who's to say?
And the weirdest part about it is that when they are found dead, they are covered by cardboard and carpet over their bodies.
What?
And his suit is off and laying on top of the stuff that's covering him.
Okay.
So if it were, some say it was like a suicide so that they could like be together because their families didn't want them to have an affair. But one of them was in an open marriage and didn't care. So why would she want to die? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, well, don't leave me into this. Well, trust me, we have to do this. Like, I know, yeah, just trust me, we have to do this. It's like, I don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
She gets roped into
So,
it. That's weird.
and there are conspiracy theories that they were, killed by the CIA because he knew too much about what was going on at the company that they worked for. And this was in Australia.
Mm,
And it's also suspected that they had access to and were doing psychedelics. And the psychedelics weren't the cause of death, obviously, based on the toxology reports. There was no poison in their system. There's
hmm.
actually a toxology report on file that they said they had high levels of hydrogen sulfide in their system, but probably not enough to kill them. But some
What even
people,
is that?
I have no idea. I'm
Yeah,
not a
okay. Our
scientist.
friend, my bad, my bad, my bad.
Do I look smart to you? I'm a
Yeah,
fucking idiot.
you're saying all these, you're saying these words. I'm like, well, what is that? What is that?
Um, so anyway, long story short, I just thought that it was a cute little coincidence that there
Did,
are two stories about people side by side dying of cardiac arrest, and both of them are like kind of related to science. And
hmm
I lean towards the UFO for Manuel and Miguel, but then I hear about this scientist who was killed in Australia also in the
Yeah,
1960s.
but his clothes were removed, so that their clothes were left on. So there's something. There's not pure consistencies.
Yeah, it's a little different, but it may be from a similar playbook.
Oh yeah, but it's in Australia, so things are opposite. So you would, if you left the clothes on in Brazil, you would leave them off in Australia, kind of like the toilets flush in different
Uh-huh.
direction.
Well, no, that works because they had extra clothes on. They had raincoats on top of their suits. And in
Ca-
Australia, they were covered in
ca-
rain with no
Case
suit.
closed. Case closed. Yeah, dead. Case closed.
We're here
Um,
doing breaking news. I don't know if anybody knows that about us, but
well, that was pretty. I mean, that's. I've got no. I mean, I've got no answers. That's very sick.
hmm
It's very conspiratorial.
that's all I have for you today. Thank you for humoring me as I
No,
info
that's
dump about
that
it's
rules.
kind of
Please.
the true crime thing is not my tip, but I
Mm-mm.
have noticed that there's like an overlap between some of the true crime stuff and some of the conspiracy stuff because usually when you hear about Dr. Bogle, it's in a true crime context because what they think is happening is that it's an untraceable poison. But I'm making the connection based on the conspiracy theory about them,
Yeah.
being like knowing too much about quantum physics, which now in the 60s, quantum physics wasn't a huge big thing. Now quantum
Even now,
physics is
yeah.
like really important.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah, you're a quack back then. Like I mean, you're probably I mean, you're probably the smartest person on the planet for even having just even aware of that this thing exists. Well, that's how I feel about like Plato and all of these and like fucking all of the ancient people. Like, how did you figure any of this shit out?
yeah, without the internet.
With just anything. It's just like, no, we already know that this is yeah, what space is and that shit. Like, how do you have theories back then? Like those fucking shout out to that.
You want to hear the like not fun answer to that?
But the math is that what it is? Math.
Yeah, the like Arabic culture already had a bunch of math, science, and space stuff
Yeah,
from like generations of watching the
yeah.
sky.
Algebra is what they invented
And so those people just like read a bunch of Arabic stuff, which you still had to be pretty smart to understand.
for
And then
sure.
they repackaged it with their opinions on it. And then white people just took it
Well,
and like
well, no. I'm not. We
removed
can't.
it from the
Hold on.
Arabic lineage.
Well, hold on. I don't know about that. You're talking about the Greek minds.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Well, number one, they're Mediterranean. I wouldn't call them white. I mean, that would loop them in as they're just as Middle Eastern as anybody else.
Okay. I'll say one more thing about that before we move on so that I
It's
have the last.
it's the only angle I have. It's like, well, no, I mean, they're Mediterranean. I would not call Greeks white, but that's yeah, it's neither here nor there.
I think that the Greek and Roman lineage is used for white supremacy because Romans are the conquering
Yeah, well, yeah,
colonizers.
but the Romans and Greeks aren't the same thing.
Well, they use the same data.
Mm,
Like the fact that the Greeks aren't crediting the lineage, the fact that the Greek and Romans are removed from that lineage is white supremacist, but that doesn't make those people white supremacist. It's that information is weaponized for white supremacy,
fair
which
enough.
is why we call Greek stuff the classics when it was actually things that have been around forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
well,
kind
I
of
mean,
just
I'm not.
the
Yeah, they also had like boy sex slaves. So I mean, I don't really trust what the Greeks were doing in general. I'm just,
and
just
tiny, tiny dicks. Have you
no. We
seen the
got
dicks on those
yeah.
statues?
No, shout out to that. We love that. We love that. We love that. Finally, some good representation of what we're talking about. Some good Statue of Davids out there. We love that. No, we love that that was what was coveted at that point. Yeah, big dicks, terrible. We hate them.
Not hot.
How? No, we want good, tiny, Statue of David penises. That's what was coveted back in the day.
A tiny, picturesque dick and balls. Just little baby.
No, but the Greeks had some shit. Yeah, they had some shit fucked up. So
Um, but before we got off on that tangent, we were talking about something that I was going to finish talking about,
my bad. My bad on that. My bad on that.
but I don't remember. Do you?
Aliens.
You know what's so funny about this is anyone that's listening will know.
Yeah, they're pissed. They're furious at me for that. But my bad on that. I'm sorry
No,
for
I
that.
don't think you started it. I think we did it together. I think we together we sabotaged the sentence and we made it impossible to ever go back. And maybe that's what the universe wanted.
No, that's the aliens. They're probably attacking. They're like, we can't let this get out. Make sure it's pushed back against the. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see, the Australians, aliens,
UFOs.
UFOs, aliens, UFOs. It's just all the same shit.
Sounds like the
Uh,
intro.
I can start
Oh,
listening.
hey, while we're here, can you give me a clean list of conspiracy theories real quick?
9/11. No, I can't. I can't. It's on the
Just
spot. It's very
rattle,
scary.
can just rattle off five. First one.
9/11, mole people, aliens. I get too scared. I get way too scared because then I want to go into ghosts and I'm like phantoms. I'm like, that's not real. That's not anything. No, it's too.
Well, I was listening to our original intro and I say the paranormal and the high level conspiratorial.
I know. I don't even know what that
So
means, but I was no, but I was like, no, she knows what she's talking about for real. That's a real thing. No, that's a real thing. Don't trust me, that's real.
And then you listen and we talk about the most basic shit possible.
But we have, but one thing we don't pretend to be. We're not pretending to be experts. I mean,
We're not.
Oh, I've got something. Can I?
Wait. I do want to thank you before you finish that because you did mention 9/11, and if you hadn't done that, we wouldn't have mentioned it on this episode.
We've already done it before, and it was very embarrassing for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that. I mean, it comes as no surprise that I'm an absolute idiot. I'm a big time buffoon. Um, Mecca is Saudi Arabia. Mecca and Medina is in Saudi Arabia. So the fact that I would pretend like it was in Iran is the dumbest shit of all time. So I would like to personally apologize. Yeah, of course.
Did we get an email that I didn't
No,
see?
no. This is just I figured it. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, what am I talking about? Yeah.
That's really
So
funny.
so I'm an idiot, and I didn't have to bring it up, but I would just. This is just full disclosure.
I love that for you.
But
Yeah.
I'm a fool and I'm a moron. So and I am racist for that making that song. Yeah, that's way even more racist than it was. My bad on
Hey,
my
Macarena.
my bad on that. It is yeah. So Mecca and Medina is in Saudi Arabia. That's the Holy Land. So bomb the hell out of Iran. It's not important. That's a joke. That's a bad joke.
Yeah. That is one of the things about us that I do want to stress. As you like and subscribe, as you send this to your friends and share it on your Instagram story, and as you leave us a
Yeah.
5-star incredible
5-star.
review,
5 big stars.
please keep in mind we have no idea what we're talking about. We don't
None.
fact check.
Zero research.
We are dumb and stupid,
The
and
dumbest possible.
we're having a good time.
This is all fun and games. Speaking of fun and games, though, did you see that Tucker Carlson interviewed the president of Iran?
No, I did not. How did it go?
I haven't watched it yet. This is like just in the last day or so.
Okay, I
But,
expect
I
a
mean-
full book report next time
But
we
I'll have
meet.
to check it out. I know we're not supposed to be like the world political affairs, but I feel that's hey
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I was diving into a lot of UFO stuff because
please yeah
it's been really hard because I usually am really into like the government's lying to you and like
I'm not into that. I would more into the fun like there's a phantom in the woods that's tricking kids into eating candy or something.
but I gotta say for those of us that are like geopolitical conspiracy theorists, it's a rough time because not only have we been proven right about a lot of stuff, we're seeing things come to light that like were not precedented and like the consequences of the news being so fucked in the United States and the propaganda like it's hard to look at that, you know? So I'm like, can I please just see two gay lovers on top of
No,
the
we're kind
hill
of two gay Brazilian lovers. Yeah, those
being
kind of,
abducted by aliens with masks over their eyes? Like I need an affair with a scientist. Please, God.
no. I see. I like this. This is kind of the angle I would like to kind of take on as well. Like that's more fun. The more not, I wouldn't say fun side of conspiratorial stuff, but
Yeah, just
I'm
a little lighter.
like I'm not talking about factual stuff that is real, that is true. You know, I don't want to break up the stuff about that is real, that is truly happening. I'm more fun with aliens and phantoms.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And to that theme, I would like to say it has been very helpful for my mental health to, set a limit on my doom scrolling and also like listen to stuff that's just funny
Yeah.
and just doesn't, and I'm really grateful to all of the people in the world that are like, because I used to kind of be like a little more serious than I am now, as you know.
Yeah, you have been.
It's been really nice to be like, okay, I know what's going on. I'm very well informed. I think I'm well informed enough to listen to some comedy for a while and watch a stand-up special.
Yeah. That's kind of the tip that I've been on. I try to stay informed, but
Hmm.
I'm kind of more like on the silly goose tip. Like
Yeah.
I would rather just goof off. And like that doesn't mean that I don't
Have you seen
understand
that?
what's happening, but
I don't know if it was Reductress or The Onion, but it's like, joy is revolutionary, says white woman who engages in no other kinds of revolution.
yeah.
But I will say, it does stick it to the man when you can have a good time and be happy and be silly. So I'm very grateful.
Well, that I think that is sticking it to the man by having a good time.
And it's very funny that for me, having a good time is reading about CIA plots.
True.
Because in the 60s, they were going through a very similar thing that we are now, but it was like MK Ultra style.
Yeah, they really MK. Ultra was the correct term there. They really ultraed that.
Any other goodbyes for the kids
I don't know
before
what
we?
do we have? I feel like this is a short episode.
It's a little, I mean, we've been talking for over an hour.
Oh, we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it feels
Yeah.
short because I was doing most of the talking.
No, I loved it. It was great.
I had a story to tell you and I wasn't going to stop until I got through it. And that's the point. And oh, we go live sometimes on our YouTube. So if you're not subscribed
Yeah.
on our YouTube, you should do that
Yeah,
and go
you
listen to a
definitely do
live
that.
episode.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing else. I mean, I was gonna my only conspiracy was something that's not aliens and CIA, but it was about Drizzy Drake.
Oh, well, let's just talk a little bit about what's going on with Drizzy Drake.
Well, this well you know that I've been a staunch supporter of Drizzy Drake. Even with all of the Kendrick battle, I've maintained that Drake's the man.
Well, you've also called me on this podcast from his house.
Oh yeah, I don't have the background up, but I do have my Drake mansion as one of my backgrounds.
Yeah, so
But
you're good friends with him, I hear.
yeah, for sure, OVO forever. No, but there is a so Drake has he has a lawsuit with Universal um about them. Well, he maintains that they pushed Kendrick's "Not Like Us," which is the famous battle song that calls him a pedophile.
Hmm.
That Drake maintains that they push this to radio stations and plays across the world in order to make him less valuable to value his name and so he could come in on a different amount for his deal. So this is a conspiracy. So Drake has
Mm.
had a deal with Universal Music Group for 400 mil,
Okay.
and that's a lot of money. But yeah, that's a whole lot of money. Well, Drake apparently recouped that amount that he owed for the deal, which was equivalent to 400 mil within a few months, which made him obviously as a business person you would start renegotiating or
Hmm.
yeah repositioning yourself with that kind of leverage. Like you've recouped your deal, you're good to go. So apparently he had a deal in place with Sony Music for 500 mil. So
Whoa.
so that so that's basically what his whole
And
what his whole
Universal is also Kendrick's
yes
label. So
yes
he
Drake.
believes
No, he
that Universal.
not only did he doesn't believe it's pretty factual that they went to and pushed this song that goes against him, who is also their artist, to devalue his name
So he
and
wouldn't go to Sony for more money.
or just to lessen his value so that he wouldn't be worth 500 mil, so they could get him for less. And even to go even further, it's kind of a mafioso type conspiracy thing to just, even if it's a foregone conclusion he's going to Sony, to punish him and devalue him for forever
Mm.
leaving him, which is something they've done before. They did that to Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey had a deal like that, and that they punished her name. So this is something that music record
Is
labels
that
have done
where
before.
is that
So,
where Mariah Carey as a diva comes from?
I mean, I think she is, obviously she's a diva. Have you heard those high notes?
Oh my God.
But but no, this is not it's not crazy. So people were talking when it first came out that he was doing the lawsuit. They were like, "Oh, he's butthurt that Kendrick's song got off, and people are everybody's singing Kendrick's song." But actually, it's way more fucked up than that. And although
Mm.
I do love me some Drizzy, um, that's crazy that's just that would be what a company would do.
I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I totally believe that. I mean, those companies are greedy and ruthless, and they see people as just numbers on a sheet, just like everything else in this capitalist fucking system.
Yeah, that
Meh, meh, meh,
one.
meh, meh.
Well, no, I mean, that's like the pretty much what shows you what the capitalist system is. But for him to be their artist and for that to be the strategy is
Mm.
crazy. So I mean, so his lawsuit, I know that it has validity, and I'm pretty sure that he will win it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, if you're like a business person in the music industry and you see this rap beef and you hear a song that where Kendrick is like calling Drake a pedophile, as they would say.
which is not which is he's not. I mean, Drake's not a pedophile, so I mean that's you can call him. You could say he's been suspect or he likes his women younger. That's fine. That's fine. He's not a pedophile. But that's still you can't.
And you hear that song and you know that like there's stuff going on with Drake, you think you just hit the jackpot. You're like, oh, all we have to do is make this song more popular. All we have to do is get Kendrick on the Super Bowl. And
Yeah,
then this whole Sony shit is over. We don't even have to
right,
worry about it anymore.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it felt like that they fell into their lap.
I will
And
say though, I do love Kendrick a lot. I do
I
think
I
he's a
don't.
really great writer and a really good rapper. And like Drake's fine, but he's a pop music. He's different than Kendrick.
Drake's the man. I don't know.
Drake is the man, but it's just a different genre. And if I were Drake, I wouldn't get in a rap beef if I'm not a rapper, which Drake is not, and Kendrick is.
Drake is a rapper. You're wrong on this, but that's fine. It's good for the podcast. We can have a little back and forth.
Yeah, sound
Um,
off in the comments.
no, I've maintained that Drake won the rap beef, and that's fine. His songs were better, but that's neither here nor there. We
But
don't have
also, neither of them hold a candle to Will Smith.
to. Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. Very good point.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even though he's what is it? An action star doesn't mean they won't act bizarre. Okay. Yeah. Let's get out of here. We gotta get out of here. Show over forever. Gay Brazilians, shout out to Gay Brazilians, shout out to Aliens, shout out to CIA, shout out to us. Like, what's the other thing you're supposed to say?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. I froze. Like, subscribe,
Yeah,
share,
your
share.
brain froze.
I froze. Yeah, it's all because of Jersey.
You froze, but your Sasquatch hat started walking.
It became blurry. Okay, I am gonna get out of here though. Goodbye forever.